JG Pageau returned to action, and the Islanders won a thriller in a shootout. We'll talk about Pageau's impact on the Islanders' playoff hopes and a lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. And thank you for helping to make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for almost 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers from 1972 to the modern era. So glad you could join us today to talk a little Islanders hockey, and we have got a busy show. The Islanders win a thrilling game over the Vegas Golden Knights, 5-4 in a shootout. We'll have our key takeaways and talk about how the Islanders got it done. We'll have our hero and go to the game. And we will discuss the return of JG Pageau, who sat and what impact Pageau will have on this team. We'll also have our weekly farm and prospects report, courtesy of Josh. So thanks to him again. And let's get started with this big win over the Vegas Golden Knights. And the thing I loved about this game, first of all, overall, the Islanders go toe-to-toe with Vegas and did not let the fact that they fell behind 2-0 to get them down. This team kept pressing, kept pushing forward, kept working, and it ends up paying off. The turning point of this game literally comes at the end of the first period. The Islanders are down 2-0, and Bo Horvat takes a great pass from Ryan Pollock and scores on a one-timer with 27 seconds left. That energizes the Islanders. The old expression in hockey is that goals at the first minute and last minute of a period can have a bigger impact. And I think this one did. It energized the Islanders. It told them that they were still in the hockey game. And they go on to score the next 2 goals to take a 3-2 lead, go back ahead 4-3. Again, it gets tied in the closing seconds, but the Islanders don't let it bother them, and they end up killing off a penalty in overtime and winning the game in the shootout. Emil Heineman, the only player from either team to score in the skills competition, and it was good enough to get the Isles the big win. So, Vegas is one of those teams that is what the Islanders and Matthew Darche said they aspire to be. Vegas is one of those teams that every year for the last, let's say, 5 years have been on the short list of Stanley Cup contenders. And every year, somehow they find a way to be competitive. Well, that's what the Islanders want to become. And by beating Vegas in this game, in this way, where both teams had great opportunities and both teams made some pretty plays, and at the end of the day, the Islanders find a way to overcome some of their own mistakes and get the dub, that was a great thing to see. And you could look, let's start with this. You could look at the box score and say, oh yeah, Ilya Sorokin gave up 4 goals. He must not have played well. No. Quite the contrary. He had an .889 save percentage, not including the 4 shots he stopped in the shootout. But boy, oh boy, did he come up big, especially down the stretch in regulation, again in overtime, and as I mentioned, in the shootout where he absolutely shined. And the Islanders do not win this hockey game without the strong goaltending of Ilya Sorokin. So, very good play there. One other guy I have to mention before we get into a few other things. Everydayers, you'll remember just yesterday, we were talking about Simon Holmstrom and how long it had been since he had a point, and how long it had been since he had a goal. And I said, hey, he has a good shot. He has to be more confident in it and use it more often. Well, he only had 1 shot on goal in this game, but he made the most of it, got off the schneid, got that goal to end the drought, and you just had to feel so good for Simon Holmstrom, because not only did that goal put the Islanders ahead for the first time in the game 3-2, but it lifted a weight off of Simon Holmstrom's shoulders. And look, this kid, he's probably a really good third liner, a solid third line player who you could put on the second line if necessary. But he's defensively sound, he kills penalties, and he has a shot that is tricky and good and difficult for goalies to handle. I want to see him shoot more, but getting that goal was huge in the confines of this game, and maybe even more impactful for Simon Holmstrom to just get back to, his usual contributions, which is maybe 1 goal every 3 or 4 games and an assist every 2 or 3 games, and just playing with more confidence. So that was great. And Mark Gatcomb stayed in the lineup, which I have been calling for quite some time, that he should not be the guy who sits when JG Pageau returned, and he got his first goal of the season. A great pass by Casey Cizikas to set it up. And again, the fourth line has a good performance, in part because they are more energized since Mark Gatcomb returned to the big club. And all 3 of them had a point because McLean and Cizikas assisted on the Gatcomb goal. But the way this line is playing, their forecheck, their physicality, much better since Gatcomb returned to the lineup. And look, I'm going to call this out right away. In just 9 minutes and 47 seconds of ice time, least amount of ice time among all Islanders players in this game, Mark Gatcomb was credited with 9 hits. 9 hits in 9 minutes and change of ice time. The Islanders' 6 defensemen in this game combined for 4 hits. Gatcomb had 9. No other Islander player had more than 4. And Kyle McLean had the 4. He has been playing more physical and been better on the forecheck since Mark Gatcomb returned. And Casey Cizikas has found his game and been playing better since Mark Gatcomb returned. And I'm not saying that Mark Gatcomb is a savior, but he has returned a little more grit and a little more bite to this fourth line, gave it a purpose, and now With this trio of McLean, Cizikas, and Gatcomb, they have a style that works. They are coordinated, and they have a way of doing things that is adding something every time this team is out there. The way they forechecked on several shifts during this game and bottled up the Vegas Golden Knights in their own zone was great to see, and it's something we haven't seen enough of all year long from this Islanders team. So great to see that back. We have got more to get to on today's show. We'll talk about the return of JG Pageau. We'll talk about our hero and GOAT of the game, and we have our weekly farm report coming up. And for our Islanders birthday of the day, a Swiss-born player who was acquired from the Canadiens and went on to become captain of the Islanders. This is an easy one. Let's see if you can guess who that is. All that and more next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch. The holidays are amazing, but they can also get overwhelming fast. Travel, gifts, parties, year-end expenses. It's really easy to lose track of your money this time of year, and that's exactly why Monarch has become such a game changer for me. If you want to keep your finances under control this holiday season, you need to be using Monarch. Rated Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, simple dashboard. The holiday spending category can become a lifesaver. You see exactly what's left in your gift and travel budget in real time. And in minutes, you could check your net worth, link all your accounts, and keep track of your contributions before deadlines. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. So, first of all, I want to thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already love your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Islanders with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonislanders.supercast.com to check that out, and check the link also in the show notes to learn more. So check that out today for all access for the Everydayers Club. JG Pageau was back in the lineup, and I'll be honest with you, Pageau did not have a particularly good game. And look, when you've been out of the lineup a couple of weeks, you don't expect to come back and be your usual self. He was a -2, played a hair less than 19 minutes, still won 18 out of 27 faceoffs, which is much better than, let's say, what Matthew Barzal or Cal Ritchie did in this game. Both of them were bad in the dot. But again, interesting decision by Patrick Roy, and I like this decision. Yesterday on the show, we were talking about where Pageau should play and how they should arrange it. And I emphasized that I did not want Cal Ritchie dropping back to the fourth line. Well, I thought they would move Matthew Barzal up to Bo Horvat's line, but no. Instead, they kept Pageau on the second line. They put him on the second line on the wing with Anders Lee and Matthew Barzal, which means you have two centers, or two natural centers. Pageau can take some of those faceoffs so Barzal doesn't have to. And it allows Ritchie to stay on the third line. Your top line was Horvat, Heineman, and Shabanov. Your third line, Ritchie, Duclair, and Holmstrom. And Ritchie made that great pass to set up the Holmstrom goal. That line clicked for a goal. And every line really except that second line, ended up contributing offensively. 2 goals for the top line, 1 each for the third and fourth. But I like this solution. Pageau can play the wing. Barzal can play the wing. Pageau can take the faceoffs for Barzy. Now, when you get Jonathan Drouin back, things are going to change, and we'll see how that plays out. But I think this was a smart move by Patrick Roy and making Maxim Siplikov the healthy scratch. I think that made sense. Sippy just hasn't found a role. And I still think, as far as Siplikov is concerned, that his lack of skating speed makes it tough for him to play the style the Islanders are playing this year. Last year, when the Islanders were not as fast a skating team, I think it was a little easier for Siplikov to be part of the way the team wanted to play and to get out there and do his thing. This year, it's harder for Siplikov, and he, again, is not playing well enough to stay in the top 9, and his style of play is not suited for the fourth line. So they got to figure out something, whether it's how to get him back on track or whether they keep him as one of the extra forwards. It's only going to get tougher when Drouin is ready to return, and we still don't have a timetable for him, although reportedly he is day-to-day. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I like the move that Patrick Roy made, and getting Pageau back helps the penalty kill, helps the team defense. And, you know, right now, Pageau is a solid contributor to this team. As he gets back into hockey shape and is able to play more minutes and be more comfortable post-injury, hopefully he returns to his previous form. And that was, again, great to have him back in the lineup. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. As much as I am a big JG Pageau fan, his trade value goes up if he plays well. And the deadline is, well, right now about 3 months away. As far as our hero and GOAT of the game is concerned, bunch of different players you could go with. You could go Sorokin, because his saves were a big reason that this team did what it did. You could go with, I'll nominate Gatcomb for the 9 hits, even though I think he's sort of a, dark horse that only I'm going to say, yeah, he had 9 hits. He played really well. But to me, and I can go with Heineman for the game-winning goal in the shootout, but I got to go with Bo Horvat. 2 goals and 5 shots on goal, won 11 out of 19 faceoffs, even had a hit. And that goal at the end of the first period was monstrous. It made a huge impact. My go to the game, I'm going to split between 2 players, Adam Pelech and Kyle McLean. Pelech took a delay of game penalty, obviously not intentional, but he took that delay of game penalty with 2 minutes and 21 seconds left in regulation. The Golden Knights had already pulled their goalie at that point. And he takes that penalty, shoots the puck over the glass, and Vegas is able to tie it in the closing seconds. It wasn't a power play goal, but the Islanders hadn't cleared the puck since the power play, and they had so many chances. So I have to go with Pelech. And then the other penalty, Kyle McLean, I mean, he took a penalty that he shouldn't have taken with, 3-point-something seconds left in regulation, a high stick that gave Vegas a power play in overtime, but thankfully the Islanders killed it off. So I'll put McLean as sort of the runner-up, but Pelech, to me, has to be the goat of the game. He's a veteran, and as an experienced defenseman, he has to know better than to shoot the puck over the glass like that. Again, it got away from him. I'm not saying that's what he was trying to do or that's what he did, but ultimately, it cost the Islanders dearly. But the good news is, whether the Islanders won this game in regulation or won it in overtime, doesn't matter because Vegas gets a point, but they're in the Western Conference. So obviously you would prefer a regulation win. There's a tiebreaker implication there, but you get the 2 points. If Vegas got 1 or 0, it has no impact whatsoever on the Islanders. So I'm fine with it in the big picture, but you could have had a regulation win if not for that penalty that ends up costing the Islanders. We have got more to get to on today's show. We have our weekly farm and prospect report, plus our Islanders birthday of the day. All that and more next on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You could bet next touchdown, scorers, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Time for our weekly farm and prospect report. And again, thanks to Josh for his help with putting this together. Friend of the show, always great to have his assistance with this. And interesting 2 games for Bridgeport. We always start there. And Bridgeport started the weekend off on the wrong foot. They end up losing to the Utica Comets 5-1 in Utica, so a tough road loss. And, you know, you're down 3-0 before you even get a chance to blink. So, you know, Joey Larson gets the only goal for Bridgeport in this game. Marcus Hogberg kind of struggling in goal, but at the end of the day, a 5-1 loss. But then the very next day, they face the Hartford Wolfpack, the Rangers Farm Club, back in Bridgeport. And boy, oh boy, the Islanders come away with a 6-2 win. Adam Beckman scoring just 3 minutes in, and the Islanders never looked back. And it was just great to see Cam Thiesing getting a goal off of a nice tic-tac-toe play with Cam Berg and Alex Jeffries, a one-timer by Thiesing, and then Liam Foudy takes a feed from Matthew Maggio and makes it 3-0 after the first period. And again, Bridgeport not looking back. Maggio scores on a breakaway later on in the second period, and Marshall Warren scores to make it 5-2, and then Foudy scores again to make the final 6-2. So a productive couple of games, or at least one game there for the Islanders as they split the weekend. Matthew Maggio, by the way, now leading Bridgeport with 16 points, 4 goals, 12 assists. Through 21 games, he has picked up his play as of late. Joey Larson leads the team with 9 goals. Adam Beckman has 7. Matthew Highmore, 14 points. Alex Jeffries, 4 goals, 13 points. Marshall Warren leading all defensemen. He has 12 points, tied with Cole McWard, both of them with 3 goals and 12 points on the season. As for the goalies right now, Marcus Hogberg, 3.25 goals against and an 8.76 save percentage. And in the standings, Bridgeport in 7th place right now in the Atlantic Division. They are 8-11-2 in 21 games. They are 2 points behind the 6th place Wolfpack, but the Islanders do have a game in hand. And again, hopefully they can start putting some wins together at this point. So for this coming weekend, 2 games coming up on the road. They head north Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The Islanders will face the Laval Rocket. And then Sunday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they'll visit the Belleville Senators. So 2 games up north for Bridgeport this weekend. You could watch them both on AHL TV. Meanwhile, the other prospects not playing in Bridgeport, still some guys doing some really good work right now. And that's something we really like to see. Gotta love, first of all, a great weekend for Quinn Finley in 2 games playing at the University of Wisconsin. He had 3 goals and 2 assists. That's 5 points in just 2 games. So a very impressive performance. Jacob Kavashnika, he continues to play very, very well. He had a goal and 2 assists in 3 games. And Kashawn Aitchison, a goal and an assist in 2 games. So again, Aitchison just keeps on playing well in juniors, and that is always something that you want to see. And, you know, Luca Romano continues to be productive at Kitchener. He had a goal and an assist. You just like seeing these players doing well. Cole Yzerman, by the way, a goal. Camille Bednarik, a goal. Both of them in 2 games, but good to see Yzerman post-injury getting back on the ice to light the lamp. So the New York Islanders battling right now, and some of their prospects looking really good. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. We are a day early on this one, but Thursday will be the 48th birthday of former Islanders defenseman and captain Mark Streit. The native of Bern, Switzerland, 5'11", 185 pounds, a 9th-round pick by the Canadiens in 2004. Made his NHL debut with the Habs in 05-06, joined the Islanders for the 08-09 season, scored 16 goals and 56 points that first season on the island, followed that up with 49 and 47-point seasons, stayed on the island till the end of the 2012-2013 season, then joined the Flyers, won a cup with the Penguins in 2016-2017, and finished his career back in Montreal. In 786 career NHL games, Mark Streit, 96 goals, 434 points, 374 penalty minutes, add 4 goals, 15 points in 34 playoff games. 6 of those games with the Islanders, he had 2 goals and 5 points. And Streit was great on the power play, a good offensive defenseman and a leader. One of his better games with the Isles, how about March 15th, 2009, Islanders visiting the Blackhawks in Chicago. Peter Menino, the goalie for the Islanders, Nikolai Habibulin, the goalie for Chicago. And our Islanders' birthday of the day, Mark Streit, opened the scoring in the second period on the power play. Richard Park and Kyle Oposo with the assist that made it 1-0 Islanders. Islanders are up 2-1 in the final minute of the second period when Mark Streit and Blake Como set up Franz Nielsen for a power play goal. That gave the Isles a 3-1 edge after 40 minutes. And in the third period, again, with the man advantage, Mark Streit scores his second of the game. Bruno Gervais and Kyle Oposo with the assist. The Islanders go on to win this game by a score of 4-2 for Mark Streit. 2 goals, 1 assist, so a 3-point game. He had 3 shots on goal and was on the ice for 27 minutes and 23 seconds. So a lot of ice time there. 40 saves for Peter Menino in this one. But Mark Streit, former Islanders captain and a great Islander defenseman, he is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Did Locked On Islanders make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free 1 month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform. We'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. Those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure your second listen is NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL. So, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. If you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind, and we'll get to at least one mailbag question tomorrow. So if you have one, send it in, and we will try to discuss it on Thursday's show. You can follow the show on X at Locked On Isles. You could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR vs NYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for a little instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. Everydayers, we are back tomorrow and looking forward to previewing the Islanders game Thursday against the Anaheim Ducks as this little homestand continues. So make sure you join us for that, and hopefully we'll have some injury updates on Jonathan Drouin as well. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and of course, let's go Islanders.